Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Kaosy Umeh, aka Attorney Know It All, located here in Beltsville, Maryland. So, you guys, as I said, welcome back. This is me once more trying to get back on my recording gig. Um, but anyway, today I just wanted to address something. It's not going to be a very long video because I just want to address something I just went through with a client during a consultation. So I got a client. She was very nervous. She and her partner have been separated for about 6 to 7 months now. Excuse me. They have three little children, and she just got served with a copy of his complaint for absolute divorce. And mind you, she knew it was coming, but what really surprised her is the fact that prior to his leaving the house, he told her he wanted to do this based on us, like he wanted to come to a mutual agreement. He didn't really want to involve the courts. So she gets really surprised when she receives this complaint from court, and it's just like 5 to 6 pages of a very long complaint. And she is just basically calling me, losing her mind, freaking out, wondering what the next steps are. So with his complaints, he also submitted my yeah, here we go. So he also submitted one of these along for financial statements. So, and according to her, most of the things he says on here just is not the truth. So he has these outrageous amounts for how much the mortgage costs, the telephone bills cost, the cable cost. Um, I think she also mentioned him saying something about how much the food costs. And she's losing her mind because she's like, well, he's the one who left the house. I'm the one who's stuck with his bills. And not just that, like, they both make good money, and he's lying about how much money he makes. So, my first thing I tell her is, hey, this might just be a negotiation tactic. He had to hire an attorney, and I know many attorneys like to just stack up their complaints to include any and every possible thing that a complaint can include, just in case this ends up going to court. But many cases also get settled before going to court. They get settled through an MSA, which is also a marital settlement agreement. So that this might just be a negotiation tool. Let me say everything we can possibly want in this case, so that will bring you to the table so we can sit down and negotiate like regular adults. Um, that could be what this is. So my first advice was to, hey, reach out to them, let them know, let your husband know that you now have an attorney. Your attorney is going to answer this complaint, and your attorney is also going to file your own counsel complaint. But reach out to know if they really want to take this all the way to the judge, or if they just want to settle this as they first indicated when they moved out of the house. So that's where we are right now. We have further appointments coming up. But as I said, reach out to the other party. Be very clear on the fact that you have an attorney. Like, hey, we're going to file a counsel complaint regardless of what happens, and we're going to file an answer regardless of what happens. But do you still really want to settle this as you first originally indicated, or are we taking this all the way to court? My hope is that the husband wasn't lying when he moved out. He really just wants to settle this, and this is just a negotiation tactic. Let me load up this complaint as much as we can, just to see if we can bring the people to the table. That happens a lot. Lots of attorneys do it. I personally do it. The other reason I do it is because you never know if a case is going to settle or if you have to go to court. And if you have to go to court, you want to make sure you've included every single possible thing you might want to request in court, so you're not scrambling in the last minute to start amending your complaints to add things that you did not add because you thought the case was going to settle. So that's why I say reach out to the opposing party, see where you guys really are. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. My client was just freaking out a little bit. They're like, we never discussed any of these things on this complaint, and I'm like, yeah, that's normal. You guys might still just end up settling this, but you have to file your own counsel complaint. And in your own counsel complaints, you want to make sure you also include everything they requested and anything else you can think of that might maybe become an issue should you have to go to court. And that's really all this is. It's just the attorneys covering their own behinds, covering their clients' behinds, and just making sure that in case we do need to end up in court, we have requested everything we could possibly request. As far as the misstatements or Yeah, I'm gonna call them misstatements. The financial statements, like um, the claiming an exaggerated amounts on the mortgage statements or an exaggerated amount on the telephone bill. I wouldn't worry overly much about that. If we do end up going to courts, then we can use this in courts against that person. Because by then we'll have copies of the actual mortgage statements, we'll have copies of the actual telephone bills, and we can use that to show the court that perhaps the court shouldn't take this person's word on its face because they are less than accurate in their statements. And the reason it does, technically, it does matter, and the reason it does matter when people put down false information on these documents is because of this last page where you have to sign your name here as the party again divorced who created the financial statements. You have to tell the court that I solemnly affirm under the penalties of perjury that the contents of this document, monthly expense list, income statement, and assets and liability statements are true to the best of my knowledge, information, and belief. So this does matter when you are filling this out, but at the beginning of a case, I wouldn't focus too heavily on that, especially because, yes, they can sign this, they can affirm this, but keep in mind they can also amend this. So, as an attorney, if you believe the person is just being dishonest, this is when you get to show the courts, hey, here's a copy of their tax return, and here's a copy of what they claim they made. Well, what they claim they made on your financial statements. So the court can look at that and assess for themselves how much credibility can we give to this person's testimony. Okay, so that was it. This was just a quick one. Again, I just had this nervous client, so I wanted to go over this really quickly. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Feel free, please, if you're so inclined, please subscribe. As I said, I'm trying to get back on this content creation thing. So please subscribe if you did find any of this was at all interesting. All right, have a great day, and I'll talk to you all later. Oh, and before I leave, I do want to remind you, as I said, I will start live streaming next week Tuesday. So yeah, keep a lookout for that. I believe I said I'll be live streaming next week Tuesday at 4 o'clock. So let's cross our fingers and get that started. All right, talk to you all later. Bye.